Yeah, the 2023 presidential elections, which many Nigerians would probably consider as largely successful, maybe due to the fact that INEC has the notoriety of declaring most of its election results as inconclusive. But at least this time around, the presidential election wasn't declared inconclusive, and probably based on that, most Nigerians think that the election was largely successful. But again, that also depends on which side of the aisle you are prospecting from. So we're still dealing with the election tribunal, how Peter Obi is going to react to the final judgment by the tribunal when it's out in a couple of days from now. So the aftermath of the 2023 presidential election has left many Nigerians with mixed feelings, as the major contenders in this election have refused to accept the results of the election. But the ferocious of them all is the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who did come third in the election, but has continued to claim that he won the election, that his election was rigged, his mandate was stolen, that the election was indeed a fraud on the Nigerian people. And that has also thrown up another question: if Peter Obi is Donald Trump in the making, considering the fact that they both share certain similarities in common.
Nigerian presidential candidate Peter Obi said on Thursday he had won Saturday's election.
That will explore all legal and peaceful action to reclaim our mandates. We won the election, and we will prove it to Nigerians.
And many have gone ahead to query his claim, how someone that came third in an election would be claiming to have won the election. And of course, this is reminiscent of what played out in the United States when Donald Trump just refused to accept, defeat. A sitting president as at that time was roundly defeated, beaten blue and black by Joe Biden. They continued to say that the election was a fraud, was rigged, his mandate was stolen, and he was going to do everything possible to get his mandate back, and then indoctrinated his followers, who of course caused the Capitol Riot that left over 5 people dead.
They can try to steal the election from us.
The number one thing that Donald Trump can do in this election is fight each and every one of these battles to the death.
We think there's going to be a lot of litigation because we have so much evidence, so much proof, and it's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land.
I know how disillusioned you are.
Nigeria's opposition leader Peter Obi tells his supporters not to lose hope. The Labour Party leader insists he won Saturday's election and says he's going to court to challenge the results.
I'm not going away. I'll be at the forefront. We will walk through this darkness.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
He is at least partially responsible for what his supporters did after he told them this.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
The same angry mob he riled up with repeated false claims about a stolen election.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
And the human toll: more than 50 police officers hurt during the clashes with a violent pro-Trump mob. That making 5 deaths now linked to the insurrection on America's symbol of democracy.
The good and hard-working people of Nigeria have again been robbed. We won the election, and we will prove it to Nigerians.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I'm asking. Since they share certain similarities, is Peter Obi Donald Trump in the making? Is he going to end up like Donald Trump?
So Donald Trump has been indicted. And that's right, Jake. A somber day for the country. Former President Trump has been indicted, connected to efforts to interfere with the democratic process and overturn the results of the 2020 election.
To circumstances surrounding January 6th, the Capitol riots. The indictment begins by stating, despite having lost, the defendant, in this case former President Trump, was determined to remain in power, and therefore, again, according to the indictment, the accusation, he spread lies that the election was stolen and that these claims were false and that the defendant, Trump, knew that they were false.
So now the question is Peter Obi Donald Trump in the making? Of course, we all know where that has, landed Donald Trump. If you compare their similarity between Donald Trump and, Mr. Peter Obi, because Mr. Peter Obi has continued to say that his mandate was stolen, the election was a fraud, and that it was rigged out of the election, and that him and his obedience will do everything possible to get his mandate back. Before I go further on this, let me welcome you to my channel, Shanice Digest. I welcome on board my new subscribers while I continue to appreciate my returning subscribers. This is a channel where we get to speak out and say it as it is. So we're still dealing with the election tribunal. The Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who did come third in the election but has continued to claim that he won the election, and then which many have queried his claim as being bogus, ludicrous, and of course fictitious, because they don't understand how someone that came third in an election will be claiming victory in that election. So he just couldn't accept the result. So I asked this question. I am constrained to ask this question. If Peter Obi were to be the sitting president just like Donald Trump, would he have had that courage to accept defeat just like Goodluck Jonathan did? Now, because of Peter Obi's posture of a rigged and stolen election, the aftermath of the presidential election has been one with mixed feelings, as can be seen from what is playing out in the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal courts, which many Nigerians have been waiting for the final court judgment with bated breath after all the parties involved had submitted their written addresses to the court last week. So INEC has wound up its petition in its final written address that the FCT doesn't enjoy any special status and as such cannot be assigned the status of the sole determinant of the presidential election. That special recognition cannot be given to voters in FCT against voters in other states of the Federation, and that it is illogical to score 25% in 30 states and not be made president because of 25% in FCT. That Mr. Peter Obi must have constructed in his mind, and that there was an electronic collation system for the transmission of results that was never in existence. And that's what the INEC Counsel Abubakar Mahmood said. And as such, he said Mr. Peter Obi's petition should be struck out for lacking in merit and for wasting the court's time. And again, he stressed that the Court of Appeal has confirmed that INEC has the liberty to decide how, when, and the manner of declaring election results, affirming that INEC has the freedom to determine the timing. When he said INEC has the prerogative to determine how, when, and the manner in which it can declare its election results. And after affirming that, they went ahead to say that INEC also has the right to determine to when such election result can be declared. Of course, they are obviously making reference to the time at which INEC declared Bola Ahmed Tinubu president, which many said the declaration was done around 2 a.m. and that was done in the dead of the night when people were supposed to be in bed. But INEC sneaked in like a thief in the night to declare the results, making Tinubu the president of Nigeria. That you could probably have waited, when it was done, for people to at least be aware to see the time it was not coming to declare result 2 a.m. when people are supposed to be in bed. So that's what they said. So now the appeal court has affirmed that INEC, it can decide when, it can decide the timing. So that has addressed that particular issue. But of course, the Labour Party represented by Levi Uzuoku maintained that his client won the election and the Election Tribunal Court should nullify the victory of Tinubu, that INEC failed to follow the guidelines and regulations of the election as well as the relevant laws, establishing the Electoral Acts. So INEC went further to say that the technical glitch that marred the upload of the result into the IREF wasn't due to any human interference, and that didn't impact the outcome of the election. So that there is no evidence, that they've not been able to prove that there was any form of manipulation of the server or the election results. So this is where I draw the curtain for today. Thank you for having the time to watch my video. If you like the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Strike on that notification bell so that you get to be notified whenever I upload a content like this. Leave your comments down below and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Stay awesome. See you pretty soon. Peace as always. Out.